Watem here, welcome back to my Umineko When Seagulls Cry. I think I started saying hello before I started recording. Oh well. Let's just continue.
ジェシカ様の覚悟、満点に値するかどうか、この炉の上、試させていただきますよ。
The test of no right answers, only wrong answers.
うせえぜ！かかってきやがれ！おいで、奈落へ。
Suddenly, beneath George's feet, a pitch-black pitfall opened its mouth wide. Of course, George had no way of resisting. After being swallowed up by that, George fell out of a pitch-black hole that had opened up in the ceiling of the arbor. Oh! That's suddenly a view. As George fell down, he was hit by a reverse roundhouse kick from a sharp stiletto heel, like a strike from a carefully aimed bee. The instant George, after being blown out of the arbor, thought that he'd be swallowed up by a rose bush, another pitch-black hole opened up there and swallowed George up. And this time, the pitch-black hole opened at Garp's feet before her eyes, spitting a defenseless George out of it. At that time, Garp had already finished the preparatory motions for the next reverse roundhouse kick. Hang on. Isn't that just like a distorted version of one of the Higurashi sound effects? Right side of the head, below the right armpit, side of the right knee. As Garp danced and spun like a small cyclone, kept hitting him. Left foot, right foot, with successive roundhouse kicks. Fourth one became a sweep, cutting George's feet out from under him, making him fall down. But of course, there was no floor there, but a pitch-black fall, and George was swallowed up once again. Garp once again spun around like a small cyclone. George was once again spat out from the ceiling of the arbor.
食らって噛み締めなさい。奈落の終点が一撃。死ね！
Sharp strike of a queen bee pierced the heavens like a rising cyclone. But is it a drill? It kicked through George's lower chest as he fell from the ceiling. Speaking of drills, doesn't she have drills? Yeah. Her drills will pierce the heavens. And then, time froze. George was pinned in midair by Garp's raised leg. Still pinned in midair, George moaned. Then Garp, with George still hung up on her foot, grinned.
認めてあげるわ。君の態度だけは一人前よ。でも、力が伴わなきゃダメだわ。知ってる？この世を滑るには3つの力が必要だそうよ。
What would those be?
一つは権力。一つは財力。最後は何か知ってる？
Physical or some other kind of similar violence?
本で読んだよ。暴力だろ。
Force violence, same diff.
正解。君にはそれが足りないわ。
Garp finally released George. He kicked upwards one more time, changing into another roundhouse kick and knocking him into a pillow.
権力を伴わない王者にも財力を伴わない王者にもそして暴力を伴わない王者にも人は誰も恐れない。
There's definitely ones that you can fear without one of those at least.
金蔵はその3つを兼ね備えたわ。だからこそ暴君として君臨した。君も金蔵の後継者を名乗るならばその貫禄を見せてごらんなさい。ほらいつまで寝ているの？立ちなさい。じゃないとまた落ちるわよ。
悪くない動きですよ。しかしレディには少々ふさわしくないかと存じますよ。
いやーひょろひょろとちょっこまかと反撃してこねえのかよ。なめてんのかうぜえやつ。
Renove dodged skillfully, jumped back and avoided Jessica's fist. But he still didn't strike back himself. It wasn't his dodge, but was as rapid as a fluttering flag blown by strong winds. Jessica's fists wasn't even able to touch him. Amidst the sensation that her own blood was boiling, Jessica regained her offensive composure. Even though this room was large for a bedroom, it was a very cramped place to keep up such exaggerated dodges for long. She calmly realized that and started using not only her fists, or not just her fists, but her legs as well.
ほう、ボクシングは腕でやるだけのうちは半人前です。腕は熱く吠えたける獅子のように、そして足は冷たく獲物を狙って追い詰める蛇のように。
Like a light jab, that's mostly your arms, but for a full swing, that's a lot of that strength is actually coming from your legs.
蛇に足はねえぜ。
確かに。
Jessica began cornering Renove towards the wall with perfect footwork. She didn't let him get around her. Renove's magnificent dodges looked flashy, but they needed a large footing. Once cornered, he wouldn't be able to dodge anymore. Jessica knew the characteristics of her weapon, the brass knuckle, very well. This powerful weapon's most notable characteristic was how it didn't give the opponent a chance to defend. Even if they blocked with their arm, that arm would receive direct damage. If it hit the wrong way, it might even break the bone. But she cornered him. With this fist, she'd whittle away at this demon who'd lost any way to escape.
おっと、おや、いつも
ようやく追い詰めたぜ。みんなを捕らえている場所はどこだ。クソジジイのいる場所はどこだ。洗いざらい喋ったらそのヒゲをむしり取るだけで勘弁してやるぜ。
それは困ります。これでもセットに毎朝1時間をかけているのですから。
ギブスの世話になったらそれもできね
おっと。
He blocked? Oh. Renove had blocked Jessica's fist with his arm. He tried to act as though it was no big deal, but it must have hurt a lot. Jessica grinned. Renove smiled the same way, but twitched slightly.
なるほど。これは確かに痛いですね。
最終勧告。泣いて詫びろ。
それはできませんね。キャラが崩れます。
ならお前が崩れ落ちるといいぜ。鶴瓶打ちだ
Jessica's fists were buried into Renove. sound of breaking glass, which startled Jessica. Why is it breaking glass? Oh, but if it was a resistance, it seemed too hard. And the sound of breaking glass, which startled Jessica. At a glance, it looked like Renove had caught Jessica's fist with his palm. That wasn't quite true. When Renove opened his hand, a faint purple glowing barrier like a glass shield appeared, stopping the attack by a hair's breadth. Pulling herself together, Jessica let her fist fly again. With a truly magnificent gesture, Renove caught hold of him.
悪魔ですので、この程度の魔法くらいは。それにしてもなかなかやりますね。人間だったら私はここで降参だったでしょう。悪魔だからまだ戦い続けることができる。
おかしな真似を。
それで終わりですか？攻撃を繰り出すばかりでご自身の防御がおろそかではありませんか？
Perfect time to get the slower version of the music popping up. Renove's palm shot within a hair's breadth of Jessica's stomach. Jessica was knocked away by the purple shield, rolled backwards, and smashed her head on the bed.
人間ごときに私のシールドは破れませんよ。もう二度と私の体に触れることができると思わぬことです。
ならよ、そのシールドごとぶち抜いてやるぜ。
不屈な方だ。その根性、なるほど。次期当主として実にふさわしい。もう少しお相手させていただきましょうかね。これも試験官の役得です。
砕けろ
I don't know what to use for the thumbnail. Do I use Jessica fighting or do I use Garth? Garth looked down on George, sneering. George was on a path in the rose garden, lying face down in a puddle. The merciless rain beat down on him, so that it looked as though even the heavens were mocking him.
立ちなさい。また落ちるわよ。
George stood up shakily. It seemed his spirit hadn't given in, but the damage done to his body was fairly significant.
命乞いなさい。君のしていることは何も選ばない4番目の選択肢に同じ。君が選んだのは3番目の選択肢でしょ。両手両膝をついて詫びれば私への比例を許してあげるわ。そしたら君を地下牢へ案内してあげる。そこで君は愛するシャノンと非力な自分のために他の人質たちを一人ずつ殺していくの。できるわよね。その覚悟はあると君は豪語したわ。
George didn't answer. His gaze was still obstinately resisting surrender.
あまり強情が過ぎると今度こそ奈落。
Garp's strength was evident. That was probably clear, even more than it was to George himself. To Shannon's group, watching through the three-sided mirror.
庄司様。もう、やめて。私なんかのために。
姉さん。
私のことなんて好きにならなければ、ジョージ様は誰とも戦わなくていいんでしょ。
Well, then you wouldn't be given the test in that same way.
なら、私なんて捨ててください。忘れてください。
There was no way that voice could have reached George. Even so, George answered.
嫌だね。僕は屈服しない。
へえ。どうして？
それが僕の覚悟だからだ。僕はシャノンのために全てと戦う。そして全てに認めさせ、全てに僕たちを祝福させる。
ねえ、聞かせて。どうしてあのシャノンとかいう家具のためにそこまで言えるの？あんなのただの出来損ないじゃない。給仕一つ満足にできないガラクタ家具だわ。
愛する女性への暴言を僕はそれ以上許さない。
だったら何？ひ弱な僕ちゃんが私にどう抗うというのかしら。
人を愛するとは強さだ。それを知ったから僕は強くなれた。
True magic is love? Ah, it's violence.
シャノン、僕は君を愛している。その言葉だけで僕は何度でも立ち上がれるんだ。
シャノンは地下牢よ。私に愛を語られても。
いや、伝わった。それが愛だからだ。シャノンには今僕の言葉が聞こえているよ。そうだと信じられることこそが愛だ。
こいつ。
シャノン、君は家具なんかじゃない。家具だったとしても世界でただ一つの僕だけの家具だ。生涯僕と寄り添ってほしい。僕には君が永遠に必要だ。
庄司様。
焼けるわ。口説きならうちの人を超えたわね。
若さですな。
愛が強さなら坊やはどうしてそんなにひ弱なの？その弱さがつまり君の愛の程度なわけね。婚約者への愛もひ弱。両親のあっけない死に様もひ弱。君の人生は何から何までひ弱だわ。
シャノンは僕に愛と強さを教えてくれた。もし君が僕の強さだけでシャノンへの愛を確かめようというのなら、僕の愛を教えよ
う。言うわね。なるほど。何度も蹴り倒されて転がされ、それでも立ち上がるのがシャノンからもらった強さだと。ならあっけなく殺されたあんたのお父さんとお母さんからは 何をもらったの？
At that time, there was a blackout? Even though they were outside? What? What? What do you mean?
違う。これは。
Huh? Oh. The thing blocking Gab's vision was the bottom of George's shoe.
側頭蹴り。尾骨骨折。
It just stopped right in front of the tip of Gab's nose.
母さんにもらったものはこの蹴りだ。
I could see that. Several moments after, Gab jumped back. Of course, that was too late. If George hadn't stopped, he probably would have caused the damage he'd announced.
そして父さんにもらったのが忍耐力。
Anger with a low boiling point isn't something to be truly feared. True anger is disciplined by fortitude.
君の暴力的意思表示は理解した。また婚約者と両親への名誉毀損も理解した。そしてそれを撤回する気がないんだね。
こいつ。
君の攻撃はもう十分に理解したから、そろそろいいかな、反撃しても。
ほざくな、坊やの分際で。
A pitch black hole opened its mouth at George's feet. George rapidly opened his legs, straddling the hole. The same move won't work again. An extremely smooth dodge, and the upper part of his body didn't even quiver.
忍耐とは熱くならず冷静に相手の出方を研究することだ。何のために？決まってるじゃないか。わかるかい？
わかんないわよ。
反撃してきっちり借りを返し、二度とちょっかいを出したくないと思わせ、涙と鼻水で顔面をぐちゃぐちゃにしてそれを拭うのを忘れて、額を地面にこすりつけて何度も謝りたくなるほどに完膚なきまでに完璧に徹底的に叩きのめすためだよ。
Just watching him dash, like, I don't know how to describe it. Go across the screen like that. George dashed. Pitfalls opened one after another, but George didn't step in them again. And, because he was persistent, he was able to reach Garth the second time.
後ろ回し蹴り、顎部骨折。
Hehe. It was stretched out more forcefully and beautifully than Garth's had been. Of course, while it had been centered directly on Garth's face, it had stopped a hair's breadth away. Perhaps she couldn't rely on pitfalls at its close range. Garth kicked at George's shins as a diversion, and in the instant of weakness when he tried to deal with that, she aimed a kick at his stomach. It was a bee-like stab by her stiletto heel, but it sliced through the air where George no longer was.
上段かかと落とし、鎖骨骨折。
Okay, I'm thinking maybe that will be the thumbnail. Both of them in there. By Gab's side, George calmly announced that, his foot still raised. If that monarch's heel had swung down, a collarbone fracture would probably have been the least of her worries.
こいつ、至近じゃ私より強いの。距離を。
She jumped backwards to open a large gap between them. She jumped and leapt and even flipped in midair, increasing that distance. It should have been magnificent. For some reason, it was very similar to the movements of a small, scared animal. If she opened the distance between them, she'd be able to fight at the range that was her specialty, using a mixture of pitfalls and kicking techniques.
バカが私を倒せるチャンスを3度も逃した傲慢。奈落の底で後悔なさい。
When she magnificently landed and tried to aim the pitfall, her razor-sharp wound cut Garp's bangs. Yes, it cut them. It happened twice. This time, it didn't just stop a hair's breadth away, it scattered her bangs with its air pressure.
アルマーダ・コン・マルテーロ第一撃で眼底骨折第二撃で脳挫傷
Garp was too shocked to speak. George had closed in over all that distance in an instant, letting off a fearsomely nimble mid-air double kick. Furthermore, the accuracy and edge of the razor, it had cut nothing more than several of her bangs.
空手で蹴りの威力をテコンドーで速度カポエイラでは自在の間合いを学んだ母さんが色々と移り気でねでも色々と特徴を学べて勉強になったよ
なぜ当てない私が女だからとでも言うのか
君は王者の力として3つ目に暴力と言ったね君はどうやらまだその暴力の意味を誤解しているようだこの場合の暴力とはね短絡的に振るわれる乱暴のことを言うんじゃない
Rather the threat of violence?
敵対すれば無傷では済まないという抑止のことを指すんだよ
抑止だと
Sure, this is what it meant. This is why all of George's attacks up until then stopped a hair's breadth away. These bare misses, which were more difficult than hitting directly, had all been performed so splendidly. Also, if George had wished it, any one of those would probably have crushed Garp. He had, daringly, not done that.
君も言ったろ暴力は滑る力だと暴力で相手を破壊してしまったら滑られないじゃないか王者の暴力とはね見せるだけなんだよ
But on the other hand, if they know that it's a threat with no like that they could back it up but that they won't, then it's no longer effective as a threat.
破壊しない屈服させて自らの財産とするんだからね君に泡でも吹かれたらみんなの囚われてる場所に案内させられないよ
Garp had to admit it. She had to admit that George understood force in its truest sense.
みんなのところへ案内してもらうよ抵抗はおすすめしないもう寸止めはしないよ
ごめんねリアあんたの兵隊借りさせて私一人じゃ手に負えないわこいつ
Oh. As a large pitch black hole opened in the sky, thunk thunk thunk, 3 muscular ghost attendants fell down. They surrounded George.
増援会それは僕がひ弱であることを撤回したと受け止めていいのかな
認めるわあんたの人間の力を侮ってたわ
違うねこれが愛を覚えた男の強さなのさ
ほざけ臭いことをシャーシャーとさあヤギたちその男を潰して肉団子にしてやりなさいこのヤギたちはバカだけどパワーだけはあるみたいよあんたの死体 婚約者にも見分けがつかなくしてあげるわ。
降伏拒否並びに継戦の意思了解し、以後は君の攻撃に等しい分だけ君に実害が及ぶことを宣言する。僕をまだ攻撃するつもりなら相応の損害を受けることになると覚悟する。
Oh. Oh. When George proclaimed that, a faint red magic circle rose up around him. It seems that George couldn't see it. However, Garp, being a demon, could.
魔法
The power of love.
どうしてこいつが防御結界を。
Alternatively, Shannon's doing it somehow.
しかもそれ反撃特化。それがあんたの抑止という意味。
From a demon's perspective, that may have been magic, but in George's eyes, it was determination. It was a determination filled with certainty, which would be merciless to anyone who wished to fight anymore, which would force them to prepare for a significant counterattack. And on that note, I think I'll be ending it there for today. Hope you've all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, where I'm probably like 2 seconds away from the chapter ending, yeah, until then, see ya.